Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. And welcome howdy gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, shockingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Wednesday, May 24th, 2023. This is live stream 923. If you're not overly familiar with this show, let me point out, super casual, just hanging around talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, and normally we will take a first look at a game. And that is what we'll be doing tonight, because it is a Wargame Wednesday, because I am going to dive on in, unbox, and take a first look at Clash of Sovereigns from GMT Games. So we are going to be taking a peek at that in just a bit. For some reason, this microphone's a little too close. It's like bumping up against my cheek. I'm sure that probably sounded weird. Yes, what can I tell you? There's a couple of screws loose here. Anyway, so super casual, just hanging out, having some fun. But do want to mention, especially if you're not familiar with the show, if you're tuning in because you want to see that first look at Clash of Sovereigns, it's going to be probably about 40 minutes. So just kick back, relax, put your feet up, enjoy. Hopefully you're a subscriber, because then you'll be able to take part in something I will talk about in just a moment. But regardless, we'll get there. Don't be impatient. You're fine. But if you are impatient, well, if you're watching this 30 minutes or more after the show is ended, there will be timestamps. They are located in the show notes. And depending on the device you happen to be watching this on, might be right there in the timeline in front of you. So if you want to jump past tabletop gaming news, you certainly can. I will point out, I have a lot of role-playing game news tonight. I know there are quite a few war game fans who will be checking this video out. Maybe not so keen on the role-playing game news. I understand. Use the show notes. Tap on the timestamp, jump ahead. I get it. Also, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you will not find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Lastly, this is a live stream, so that means there is chat available for subscribers. See, I came full circle on that. If you're a subscriber, you can take part in something. So you have to be a subscriber for at least 48 hours before you can take part in chat. It's simply a way to keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you got a question, a comment, maybe you just want to say howdy, maybe there's something about Clash of Sovereigns you want a closer look at, by all means, chime in, and I will do my best to respond. First out the gate tonight is Roger Perdome, and we've got Stray Kismet, Kevin R. Smith, Testy Trekkie, and Kathy Evans chiming in already in chat. Looks like Testy Trekkie's got COVID. Yuck. Sorry about that. Hopefully, you have gotten some extra dosage of medications to keep that from getting out of hand. So you must be feeling good enough to be watching the show, so that's a bonus. Thank you. So hopefully you'll feel a little better just hanging out with the gang in chat. Fingers crossed on that. Straight Kismet says Jeff Stubble once total party killed a party. Yeah, I shouldn't have much stubble. I just shaved. I usually shave before I do the show. So, yeah, it's kind of weird. Some days I actually shave twice. So, I don't want the stubble. But there's usually a little bit of stubble. So, in fact, I can feel it right now. So, Tessie Trucky says, yes, the benefits of Australian health care. Well, hopefully it's taking care of your health. All right, we're going to jump on into the news because I've got a good amount of it today. Arriving in September from WizKids is Ascending Empires Zenith Edition. Here's the latest on this science fiction dexterity game. Thousands of years have passed since humans first settled the Andromeda Galaxy. Wars that raged over resources and ancient alien artifacts seemed never-ending. Now a powerful relic known as the Star Key has been discovered and has activated massive warp gates. The doors have opened to countless galaxies full of new planets and advanced technologies. It's kind of like The Ring in The Expanse, eh? It's time to deploy your ships and build your empire. Ascending Empires Zenith Edition updates and expands the acclaimed game of flicking starships to distant planets to discover ancient relics, construct cities and starbases, and develop new technologies. Perfectly blending strategic empire building with fast and fun gameplay, this new edition also upgrades the Starfield game board to neoprene mats and includes over 100 highly detailed plastic miniatures for a premium gaming experience. The Zenith Edition offers the ability to play using the original classic rules or the updated new era rules. Both rule sets feature lightning quick turns with actions flowing from one to the next, encouraging you to rapidly adapt your strategy in a dynamic dance of galactic dominance. The new era rules add different elements to your journey, such as star bases and specialty ships. In addition, randomized modular technology trees allow for over 200 unique combinations that turn each play into an incredible new adventure. Lead your fleet through the warp gates on a journey to new galaxies and conquer anyone who stands in your way. Gain victory points by occupying planets, building structures, developing technologies, attacking enemies, and completing missions. Expand your empire and leave your mark on the universe. Ascending Empires Zenith Edition is for 1 to 4 players. You can play a flicking dexterity game by yourself. That's an empire builder? That sounds a little strange. It's for ages 10 and up, which also sounds strange because there are small pieces in this. This must not be manufactured in the US. And also plays in around 75 minutes. It is going to hit stores this fall. It's going to carry an MSRP of $139.99. Now, I have heard good things about Ascending Empires in the past, but I still have to say, zoinks! 140 bones for a flicking game? It's like, okay. Like, all right then. As you can see, those are the miniatures there and the different colors for the different players. Although, didn't we just see 5 colors? So wouldn't that indicate maybe 5? No, there are 4 colors. There are 5 rows. I see 4 lights! I don't know why I throw that out there every time I say like 5 and 4, 3. It's not every time, it's just once in a while. Anyway, this looks very interesting. I have heard good things about this game, but man, that price tag is scary. I mean, for $140, you could get yourself a halfway decent Chronicle board and be able to get non-gamers to play that, as opposed to being like, hey, come on, let's flick these discs and dominate the galaxy. Flaming Huron is with us, one of our chat moderators from over in Australia. Thanks for tuning on in. So, as I mentioned, I got a lot of role-playing game news. Flaming Huron says, yeah, that price. Zoinks! Anyway, as I mentioned, I got a lot of role-playing game news because a lot of news broke yesterday and some stuff today. So first off, I do want to talk about a new rules light fantasy role-playing game from newcomers Yubi's Adventures. It is up for crowdfunding. I've got the scoop on Sentima Sundered Wilds. In Sentima Sundered Wilds, a tabletop role-playing game for any number of players. Your crew of insectoid explorers will struggle to survive as they travel the mutated, storm-swept wilderness of Sentima's Sky Islands in their airship. Rich troves of treasure, eldritch energy, and valuable monster organs await you, but you'll face deadly foes every step of the way. In Sentima Sundered Wilds, you'll find a rules-light system with classless characters. You ain't got no class. An advancement through equipment and crafting. The rules focus on the ways your explorer survives the wilderness, with systems that highlight exploration, combat, weather, research, gathering, and crafting. As a trail guide, shape the tone of your story with color-coded adventures and tailored rule sets. Switch up the narrative and mechanical focus of the game by using red rules for combat, blue for horror, yellow for adventure, and green for survival. Players will find a sense of wonder and looming danger and a hunger to explore this unknown, untamed world. Trail guides will find a fast, light system that cares about more than just combat, with both stock content and modular items, enemies, and landmarks that are easy to create on the fly. No pun intended, because you're playing an insectoid character. Get it? On the fly? Yeah, not so clever. Choose from 12 playable tribes with 2 different professions each. Build, crew, and sail your very own airship, or hitch a ride with the locals. Explore otherworldly, energy-warped ecosystems. Gather, research, and craft with ingredients using 50 different tags. Advance by crafting new powerful equipment to add to your arsenal. Weather raging energy storms that change from day to day. Survive unforgiving wounds and illness with makeshift shelters and meals. Battle hostile locals and all kinds of monstrously mutated creatures and behemoths. There is a short, it's about 2.5 minutes, video for the Kickstarter for Sentima Sundered Wilds. So let's give it a peek.
We are about to enter another dimension. A shattered world ravaged by eldritch winds which tore it apart, scattering shards of the surface into the sea of the air above. It is unusual and otherworldly, a confluence of both reality and imagination, of the scientific and the strange. Welcome to Sentima. First stop, the Red Reef. A whirlwind of debris scattered around long-abandoned corestone mines. This island is broken by a hungry shipbreaker, now coiling around the remains. Many a tribe trying to hunt the behemoth down to feast on its energy-rich carcass. Below is Twilight Vale, another hunting ground. But the roles of hunter and prey can change here in the blink of an eye. blood-hungry raiders of the Red Fleet swarm all over the place, devouring every other insect in their path. The unnerving buzz of their air bikes alerts the mantises who lay waiting in the shadows, eager to add new trophies to their living gardens. And now, Destination Haunt. Ultimately, everything that once lived ends up in this pit of despair. The islands in this place float in a realm of twilight, eclipsed by the lands above. Stifling, dark, and humid, this graveyard of behemoths and shipwrecks is still full of life. Castaways, the deprived, and the banished. We will join them, if only for a moment, as even places like the Bone Field hide treasures beyond our dreams. Survive in the heart of the wilderness and brave the storms of eldritch winds to create incredible inventions with all the plundered fortunes. Build your own airship from the carcasses of giant behemoths and reanimate it with alchemical energy to sail the untamed skies of Sentima.
You can reserve a copy of the hardcover rulebook of Sentima Sundered Wilds for a $44 pledge, or grab just the PDF for a $22 pledge through June 23rd. If the project funds, the expected delivery date is actually a pretty quick turnaround this December. Very interesting. Full transparency, the folks with Yubi's Adventures are advertising this Kickstarter over on thegaminggang.com. So do want to let you know. But this looks pretty interesting, looks pretty cool. I got to point out, it's only about 20% funded. No, actually, I think it's a little more than that. I think maybe it's about 30%, because it doesn't have a huge Kickstarter goal. I think it's 5,000 and change is its goal. And this looks like it could be very, very interesting. Now, what I am a little curious about is the fact that the players are going to take on characters who are insectoid, maybe not a draw, you know? I'm kind of wondering. I'm wondering if it was more like traditional fantasy races, or if it were just humans, or, humanoid aliens. I don't know. I have no idea. But you are getting a peek. There is a PDF adventure that you can take a look at as well. Tessie Trekkie points out Sky Island settings are great for episodic Adventure of the Week style games. Particularly great if the players are very happy with box adventures week to week. Yes, it's time for the Monster of the Week. Yes. I know some people run Call of Cthulhu games like that, where it's like Monster of the Week. And of course, there is a role-playing game called Monster of the Week. In fact, I think I received a new edition not too long ago. I've never checked it out, so I am not sure. John Mascola is hanging with the gang. Welcome, John. Good to see you once again. Moving right along, Wizards of the Coast revealed their lineup of Dungeons & Dragons releases for the rest of 2023. Here's the skinny. Arriving in August, we have 2 releases. We've got Big B presents Glory of the Giants. Big B the Great recounts his journeys into the history, myth, and society of giants in this guide to their realms and the worlds of Dungeons & Dragons. Here, Big B and the demigod Diancastra, child of the giant's allfather, Enom, unveil the secrets of Enom's mighty descendants. Again, I'm mispronouncing fictional characters' names. Players will find a wealth of giant-themed character options, a subclass for barbarians, 2 backgrounds related to giants and their runic magic, and feat options that evoke the strength and primal magic of the giants. Dungeon Masters will gain inspiration for bringing giants to life, from maps of giant-built sites and big new monsters to tremendous treasures and intriguing trinkets in a giant's bag. Let Bigby and D'Ancastra teach you everything about the iconic giants of D&D. This is going to carry an MSRP of $59.95 right now. You can pre-order and get the digital copy for D&D Beyond absolutely free. So at the same price, $59.95. After that pre-order period, it will go back up to $69.95 if you also want the bundle with the digital copy. This is arriving August 15th. Also coming in August is the Practically Complete Guide to Dragons. This is a lore book only, so it does not have rules or stat blocks or anything like that as far as I understand. And it does reprint previously published material from a Practical Guide to Dragons, a Practical Guide to Dragon Riding, and a Practical Guide to Dragon Magic. With tips on everything from fighting dragons to riding them, the Practically Complete Guide to Dragons offers abundant insight into the most awe-inspiring creatures in the world, detailing the appearance, capabilities, habits, layers, and treasures of 10 dragon kinds, and annotated with the extraordinary wizard Sindri Suncaster's personal observations and experiences. This beautiful volume will inspire endless adventures in the imagination. This is an August 15th release. It will carry an MSRP of $39.95. Should also point out that the Bigby Presents Glory of the Giants does have an alternate art cover, which you're actually just seeing. As far as this, the Practically Complete Guide to Dragons, it does not. Also, we have in September, Fendelver and Below, the Shattered Obelisk. Players will return to the lands featured in the D&D starter set, with a tale promising to finally explain those mysterious black obelisks, which have actually shown up in quite a few previous Forgotten Realms adventures for 5e. I think there's 4. I think there's 4 books that they've shown up in. I know one of them was Rime of the Frost Maiden, because I remember there was like an optional ending which involved the black obelisk that was there, although they didn't really delve too deeply into it, if I remember right. This adventure will promise to take characters from level 1 through level 12. The 224-page hardcover will carry an MSRP of $59.95, and it's got a street date of September 19th. October is going to see the 3-volume slipcase set for Planescape with adventures in the multiverse. The set's going to include a volume featuring the city of Vigil and its surroundings, plus a bestiary and a full-length adventure promising multiverse-shattering consequences. I don't know if that's consequences for success or for failure, but it's multiverse-shattering. The page count on the 3 books combined in this slipcase is supposed to be right around 254 pages. Release date is October 17th, exactly 1 week before my birthday. MSRP has yet to be announced. Then finally, in November, we will see the release of the Book of Many Things. This is also another slipcase set, which also includes a, you guessed it, Deck of Many Things. The set features a 192-page book filled with lore, magic items, player options, monsters, and more. Also part of the set is a 66 card deck and an 80-page reference guide for the deck. This will come out November 14th. No MSRP is announced for this yet either. Quantum Phase Dragon is with us in chat. So, John points out Planescape's going to be a 3-book set. I hope it's not another Spelljammer disaster. We're actually going to talk about these news items, these releases, after the news, because I want to kind of dive into D&D a little bit with all these announcements. They've even made reference to releases in 2024 and 25. Just kind of comments, nothing, concrete yet. So Kevin points out they were pretty sure Monster of the Week is powered by the Apocalypse. I think it is too. I'm pretty sure it is. So Tessie Trekkie says, the Sigil and the Outlands, we can have Planescape? Yes, you can have Planescape. We don't know how good that Planescape's going to be, though. Kathy points out she's got those practical guidebooks for dragons. Also mentions 254 combined pages is not enough for Planescape. Deja Vu is with us in chat, pointing out there's an obelisk in Tomb of Annihilation. That's right, I remember that. And one on the random table of Spelljammer. I didn't remember that. I know the adventures that have taken place outside of Forgotten Realms do not have the obelisks. There's a Forgotten Realms thing. So anyway, we will talk a little bit about these releases in just a few minutes. Moving on to my next news piece. Next month, Paizo Inc. is going to release a new Lost Omens Volume 4 Pathfinder. I've got the latest on High Helm. Delve the mountain deep. When the first dwarves reached the surface of Golarion, they built enormous keeps as a monument to their legacy and to serve as their new home. The mightiest of these keeps was High Helm, a sky citadel deep in the Five Kings Mountains. While other sky citadels have fallen since the quest for sky, High Helm holds strong, serving as one of the major centers of dwarven culture. Lost Omens High Helm delves deep into the Emperor's Peak to present High Helm in all its glory. This book details everyday life in the city, dwarven culture, and the various clans that influence the Sky Citadel. It also provides a full gazetteer of the city's layers and surroundings, each with adventuring locations and sites of intrigue suitable for a multitude of adventures. An included poster map presents High Helm's layers in high detail and serves as an aid for campaigns centered on the Dwarven City. Characters looking for new options can visit High Helm for new equipment, ancestry feats, animal companions, and more. The new 136-page volume arrives June 28th. You'll be able to score the hardcover for $44.99 or grab just the PDF alone for $22.99. See, a new Lost Omens book. Well. I will have a little more to say about Pathfinder later on in the show. Talk about what we're going to be taking a peek at next week. Yes. On to our last news piece. Free League Publishing has revealed a pair of Lord of the Rings role-playing releases and more. Here's the lowdown. First up, we actually have the One Ring Tales from the Lone Lands, which I don't think is out yet, but I think it will be out very shortly. It's also got its 5e adaptation, the Lord of the Rings role-playing Tales from Eriador. These include a troll hole. You troll hole. If there ever was one, and Kings of Little Kingdoms. These are relatively self-contained adventures, but still hint at a growing danger. Messing about in boats involves directly one member of the company in an unexpected way. Not to strike without need and a wonder of the northern world follow the slow infiltration of spies of the enemy. The quest of Amen Gurathos challenges the heroes to battle in ancient evil. Then we have The One Ring, Ruins of the Lost Realm, which is already out. And its 5e adaptation, the Lord of the Rings role-playing Ruins of Eredor, which include Chapter 1, Fog over Eredor, which offers a description of the regions that once were part of the Kingdom of Arnor, with a focus on the city of Tharbad. Chapter 2, A Gathering Storm, provides the lore master with a set of narrative elements aimed at building a possible future for the land of Eredor as a whole, including the description of many looming threats, lore master characters, and their agendas, as well as the third chapter, Landmarks, which adds 12 sites of interest in the style of the ones presented in the core volume. These locations depict both historical sites mentioned in the Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, and others that have been created specifically for the game. The hardcover Ruins of the Lost Realm, as I mentioned, is already available. It carries an MSRP of $39.99. The other 3 volumes are slated for release soon. They should also carry MSRPs of $39.99. And no doubt you'll be able to pick up the PDFs at Drive-Thru RPG. Normally, they run about $19.99 for the PDFs. So, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see the One Ring and the new One Ring release that, like I said, I think it's either out or it's right on the horizon, as well as the 2 volumes for the Lord of the Rings role-playing. So we'll be taking a look at those when they arrive. Kevin Smith says, I didn't know this piece was going to be about Ruins of the Lost Realm. Well, it's really not. It's really about the 5e adaptation of it. So, but I figured I would share the artwork from both volumes. So you can see the One Ring as well as the Lord of the Rings equivalent of these books, because it's pretty much the same modus operandi as Cubicle 7 Entertainment had with their first edition of the One Ring and Middle-earth Adventures in Middle-earth. So there you have it. All right, that is it for the tabletop gaming news for tonight. Of course, I was just talking about Drive-Thru RPG. Don't forget, the gaming gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit Drive-Thru RPG, Dungeon Masters Guild, Storytellers Vault, any of the One Bookshelf sites, please visit thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our ads for Drive-Thru, and that way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. All those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like the video, you should be giving it a thumbs up. But if you like the video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always stop on by paypal.me/thegaminggang and making a small donation. And thankfully, there are quite a lot of people out there who use the banner ads for the One Bookshelf sites and or paypal.me. So thank you, everybody. Big tip of the cap for all of you. Russell Higgins is with us in chat. I think I missed somebody else. Quantum Phase Dragon is also hanging with the gang. So we are going to be jumping on into Clash of Sovereigns in just a few moments. But a couple of things I did want to mention first. Number one, I am going to have a contest for Forbidden Lands. Yes, because June 15th will see the release of Book of Beasts and the Blood Marsh. So, I am going to provide two, count them, two viewers with copies of the core game, as well as a copy of Book of Beasts and the Blood March in PDF. So this is how you're going to get into the running. I'm going to make it once again. It's always super easy. Please give any video on the Gaming Gang channel a thumbs up when you watch it. Okay, so that's kind of a given, right? So what I need you to do is I need you to comment on this video. Doesn't matter what it is. It's got to be something, though. It can't be like, hi, Jeff. That's not a comment. I mean, you know, yes, it is a comment, but it's not going to count for the contest. Comment about something in the video. And what I'm going to be doing is I will be mentioning this contest each and every live show through June 14th. And every time you comment on a video, now you only count one time per video, but if you comment on additional videos, they have to be episodes of the Dispatch, you will get another entry into the contest. So if you comment on 6 episodes of the Dispatch between now and June 14th, you will have 6 entries into the contest. And then on June 15th, I will reveal the 2 winners. So there you have it. So Forbidden Lands, I really dug this a lot. It was one of my favorite games of, when did this come out? 2019, maybe? 2020? But I gotta say, I'm very pleased to see that Free League Publishing is still supporting it. Seeing that now they've got Dragon's Bane, or Dragon Bane. Is it Dragon's Bane or Dragon Bane? Hopefully we're going to get an opportunity to see that as well. So we shall find out. So Tessie Trekkie says, Book of Beasts and the Blood March are eagerly awaited. So Russell Higgins says, how about the artwork on the new Wizards of the Coast is really good, but it's too bad about their company. I'm not sure what how about by Jeff means. I don't know. All right, so we've got a bunch of releases coming for Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, we've got 5 from now until the end of the year. And actually, they don't really hit until August. So it looks like we've got a new release just about every month, right? August, we have 2. September, we've got 1. We don't have one for December. So we've got one for October. We've got one for November. I will be the first to point out that I have the impression the Planescape slipcase release is going to be right along with Spelljammer. I got to be honest, that's what I think. I think because what we have seen so far from Wizards of the Coast, and I know people have this misconception that like, I don't like Dungeons and Dragons, and I like talking bad about Wizards of the Coast. That's not the case at all. But I also don't, sugarcoat things, and I call it as I see it. I got to be honest, I have the impression that the Planescape is going to be like Spelljammer, and people are going to be very disappointed. Got to be honest. As far as the Giants book, I guess that's kind of cool. I think it's kind of weird because I get the impression that it's going to give players an opportunity to play a giant. So I don't know how well that'll go over, because it's sort of like, well, that's a little OP, I think. But that's fine. I got to be honest. I wish they would come up with more interesting names for these tomes that come out, right? Like Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, Xanathar's Guide to Everything. It's like, talk about really boring titles. The Phandelver Adventure, sweet. I got to be honest. I thought Lost Mines of Phandelver is, as an introductory adventure from the starter set, I think it's really well done. And I would like to see that adventure. That should be pretty good. Fingers crossed. So that would be pretty sweet. The Guide to Dragons, I don't know. It just seems to be reprinting a bunch of stuff from prior out of print books, which I guess if you're into all that information about dragons, by all means, yeah, I'm sure that's going to be worth your while. And then we also have the Book of Many Things with the Deck of Many Things. I don't know if that includes an adventure or not. I don't think it does. I think it's the deck, and it's got a reference guide to the cards, and then it's got kind of a lore and gear supplement is what I'm kind of getting from that. So, hey, Hasbro wanted more D&D stuff. You're getting more D&D stuff. How good it's going to be, I don't know. I don't know. Will we get to even see it here at the Gaming Gang? I don't know. I have no idea. I assume so. I don't think Wizards of the Coast is mad at me or anything, because I wasn't the only one who called him out about the open game license fiasco. So there's that. So Russell Higgins says, Jeff doesn't talk bad about Dungeons and Dragons. I, however, do. Russell, are you shitting me, man? Really? No, I have called Wizards of the Coast out many times. You must not be watching. Sorry. Me personally, here's how, this is my approach, right? I always have my fingers crossed that new Dungeons and Dragons releases are going to be decent. That's not usually the case. I really hope that they're going to be great. Some of them are all right. There's been some that, Russell, take a look at some of my reviews, man. I took a lot of shit for my review of Rime of the Frost Maiden, because I was not overly positive about that. So I don't know where you're coming from with that comment. So Kevin says people are probably going to be more disappointed. Planescape had a bigger, more enthusiastic fan base. Yep. Yeah, I got a bad feeling. One of the problems that I see with Wizards of the Coast is they've got way too many freelancers. They don't have hardly anybody who's there actually working on Dungeons and Dragons full time. What last I heard, now once again, I don't know if this is true or not. Last I heard, there was like a half a dozen people. Like Chris Perkins is one of them. Yeah, okay, so you got a half dozen people working on D&D, and you want more D&D out there, so it's like, well, let's just hire more freelancers. And the editing, playtesting, I don't think really exists. So nothing ever feels cohesive lately. So Kevin says, I think Wild Beyond the Witchlight was the last Wizards of the Coast product that Jeff liked. Oh, I loved it. I thought it was excellent. There have been a few things that have come out that I was like, it's all right. It's okay. I mean, like I wouldn't run it as written and things like that. But yeah, Spelljammer, I was like, John says, problem is Wizards is grasping at straws in order to sell with a bigger ticket price. Well, everybody's raising their prices. So we talked a little about it. In fact, Kevin was the one who really was talking about that in chat last night. And I understand that they will not be raising the price of digital products from Wizards of the Coast because there is no real extra cost involved with that. But you notice just about everybody in the role-playing game sector is jacking their prices up a little bit. They have to. So, I mean, I get it. But we did talk about it last night where you figure, let's say, as an example, let's go out on a limb here and say that the new Fendelver adventure book is pretty good, right? So you're going levels 1 to 12. It's 224 pages. It's $60 plus tax. I mentioned it last night. Take a family of 4, you go to the movies, have a drink, popcorn, maybe 2, you have a pair of people splitting a thing of candy. You're looking at $80 to $100 easy here in the US. I know in other countries, some countries, it's even way more than that. It's like $40 for a single person to go to a movie and have some popcorn. Insane. So think about it. $60, you're going to get way more than 2 hours of entertainment out of that. If it's good. Even if it's not that good, there's always nuggets to mine. That's why, although the assumption is I don't talk bad about D&D, I very rarely give super negative reviews to role-playing game products because there is always content that you can mine from various different games that you can use in your other systems. So that's how I always look at it. So, I mean, I have given like 5s and 6s, but I don't think I've ever gone lower than that on a role-playing game release. Tessie Trekkie says, to add a moment of lightness, the wonderful DHL man just dropped off a copy of Book of Beasts, Blood March, and the map pack. Talk about timing there, huh? So Kevin points out also their digital products are D&D Beyond packages that they can cancel anytime and require you to have a subscription to access. If you have a little bit of knowledge about computers, no, you can get your hands on. You can get your hands on the D&D Beyond and create yourself a PDF. Would not be the most well laid out, I don't think. So, alrighty. So anyway, I just wanted to mention it. I got to point out, supposedly 2024 is going to be the revised rule books. And there's supposed to be some big adventure which will feature Vecna. So there's that. And, like I said, they had kind of dropped, what's coming 2024, 2025. I got to be honest. I completely forgot what it was for 2025. It wasn't, it was just like a mention. So, all righty. So we're going to dive on in and unbox and take a first look at Clash of Sovereigns from GMT Games in just a moment. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
When did you have your last cup of Wilkins?
My last cup wasn't Wilkins.
He's had his last cup.
Run, baby, run.
White water, where they're going is rough and dangerous. But these outboards can handle it. Boaterific outboards from Ideal. Boaterific outboards that go like bandits. They're on top of the most wanted list. Kick them over and kick up a lot of excitement. Race them or take them out water skiing. Because now, you can get Boaterific water skiers and drivers to go with your Boaterific outboards. Boaterific, the outboards that go like bandits.
Boaterific outboards.
From Ideal.
And now, on with the show.
No, Wonkins, no! Yeah, there you go. Fleming Huron says, Wonkins wakes up with a headache. No, I don't believe so. I think he's supposed to have been killed. Because he says that'll be his last cup. That Wilkins says something along those lines. That's going to be his last cup of coffee. So Kevin pointed out, he was talking about in chat yesterday, the price increase for Wizards of the Coast. So their books, for the most part, we already see there's one exception to it with that new Dragon book coming out. It's going to be $59.95. And as Kevin points out, Tales of the Valiant is $59 if you want to back it on Kickstarter. Presumably, it's going to retail for probably $69.99, $69.95, somewhere around there. So, yeah, I mean, it's hitting everybody. It really is. So I am very curious as far as Tales of the Valiant, what we're going to see. So, let me hear it says, Boaterific. Yeah, I know. I was like, what? See, I don't remember those. I don't remember those at all. I guess probably, I think that commercial was before my time. All right. So, tonight, I am going to unbox and take a first look at Clash of Sovereigns from GMT Games. It's designed by Bob Kalinowski, with art and graphic design provided by Roger B. McGowan, Mark Mahaffey, and Mark Simonich. The game is for 2 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, plays in 3 hours or more. In fact, it's supposed to be like 3 to 12 hours. This does carry an MSRP of $69. So let's swing on over to the other camera. And here I've got Clash of Sovereigns. I'm going to get rid of the shrink wrap. So as a joke, I was almost tempted to be like, starring Louis XV, Frederick the Great, Philip V, instead of Louis the 15th, Philip the 5th, George II, Charles Emmanuel the 3rd. All right, so take a look at the back here. I'm not going to read all of this, just a little bit. Clash of Sovereigns is a 2 to 4 player card-driven game of the War of the Austrian Succession. The Bourbon, French, Spanish, Prussian, and Pragmatic, Austrian, British, Piedmont alliances battle across Central Europe from Paris to Königsberg and Naples to London. COS features asymmetrical armies with distinctive national characteristics and capabilities that have banded together in alliances that often struggle with conflicting goals. Both the Bourbons and the Pragmatics will benefit or suffer from interactions among the various nations in their respective alliances. A host of belligerents, Spanish, French, British, Prussian, Austrian, Dutch, Russians, Bavarians, Hanoverians, or I guess it would be Hanoverians, and more, and a vast theater of operations ensure that the game will never play the same way twice. Vienna may fall to the Prussians, or French. Paris and Naples may see Austrian white uniforms in their streets, and London may be beset by Bonnie Prince Charlie or invading French troops. Will the French get Bavarian Charles VII onto the throne of the Holy Roman Empire? Will Louis XV and George II clash in Flanders? And will anyone be able to stop the Saxe? I don't know. We'll find out. Let's jump on in. I'm always a big fan of the card-driven historical games. So it looks like we've got quite a few decks here. And we got an errata sheet. Okay, so we have got that. We've got our rules of play. We've got mats, so we've got, oh yes, we've got our playbook. And it is a paper map. So we will take a look at that. I was going to say, for $69, I wasn't expecting a mounted board. And I know I say it a lot. I like mounted boards. Some folks out there prefer just the paper because they live in areas that have high humidity, and the mounted boards tend to warp very easily. So Caitlin K is joining us. Howdy. Welcome aboard. It's a first-time visit. Says, hello from Lansing, Michigan. My husband and I found your channel last week and really enjoy your streams. Well, thank you very much. Welcome aboard. Glad you're enjoying the show. All right, so let's take a look at the rules of play. I think this was a complexity 6 out of 9 by taking a peek. So we've got our game components. So with all of these belligerents and having this up to 4 players, then I would think we are going to have some of these belligerents will each player is going to take on one or more nations, is my guess. So we've got Prussia, Spain, France, and Britain. Talking about the geopolitics. Got our minor powers, Bavaria and Saxony. Italy, I think I just saw Italy. So we've got activating units. I'm going to take a guess that combat is probably very abstracted. So we've got our irregular troops. Well, then again, maybe not. So we do have generals that we can assign. I was going to say, you've got Frederick the Great. I would think you have to. You would have to have generals in here. So that's our combat. We've got fortresses and sieges, fleet sorties. Our victory points, optional rules, day of battle cards. It says this optional rule is being used. Oh, if it's being used. The attacking player randomly draws one day of battle card just before resolving a major battle or naval interception / combat and applies its effects. Oh, kind of interesting. So that is the rules of play. Grand total of about 26 pages of rules. The playbook is pretty short. I love GMT Games playbooks. Now, I don't know if we're going to see a detailed example of play. I'm guessing we won't because it looks like these are our scenarios that are in here. But I say it all the time. I always read the playbook first before I dive on into the rules because it just, for me at least, makes it far easier to comprehend. But here we've got our scenario. This is the 1740 to 1743. We've got 1744 to 46. It says this scenario covers the most intense period of the war when De Saxe ran amok in the Austrian Netherlands, bravely resisted by smaller British allied armies. Yet at the same time, mounting Austrian power held Frederick in check and gained peace in Austria, conquered Bavaria, regained the Holy Roman Emperor crown, or empresses, wouldn't it be? I think it was, at that point it would be, yeah, I think. Do we have her on the cover? Yeah, Maria Theresa, right there. The Holy Roman Empress. So it looks as if we have to build the decks, because it's showing building initial strategy card hands. Or maybe it's just how you start off the scenario that way. So it's got more of like a historical beginning point. Then we got 1746 to 48. So that'd be the end of the war. Then we have a short campaign scenario, and then we have, so we've got six different campaigns. We had the full campaign, so that runs 1740 to 48. Pretty cool. All right, then we get some designer notes. It's kind of funny. It says, well, here we are. Clash of Sovereigns is finally emerging from my basement and playtest. That's cool. All right, and then we have the Played Events checklist. So each of the powers has a mat. So we've got the Austrians, the French and Bavarians, the Spanish and Prussians. Then we have the British and Piedmont. So there we have, like I thought we were going to see, some players will actually control multiple nations. So we've got 4 of those, single-sided, since they are mats. Looks like we've got, I was going to say a play aid here. It's the expanded sequence of play track. So we have reinforcement segment, redeployment segment, draw segment, foul placement, army and fleet sustain segment. So we go spring phase, summer campaign season, fall campaign season, early winter, late winter. What was this? Complexity was 6? Wait a second. Yeah, it's this complexity 6. It's not really suitable for solitaire, though. Looks like quite a bit going on in each of these seasons. But I guess, yeah, it's a full year. So, and we do have some of the scenarios that are only 2-3 years long. Now we've got player aids here. We've got a couple. They're identical. So looks like we've got our combat results, siege table, army battle rating, naval combat, fortunes of war table. All these are events that can take place. Oh, wow. Some of them do actually take place. There is no option to it. It's automatic. So like Maria Theresa dies. Philip VII of Spain dies. So these are automatic. There are no roll a die and see. So Charles of Bavaria, I said Bavaria? Duh. So there's a chance he dies in 1744. If you roll a 1, yeah, I'd say that's a critical failure for him, right? On that 1. Right, so then we've got The 45 track. This is looking pretty interesting, pretty unique too. So we got our victory point tracker events, the monarchical will track. Kevin says that's actually how the Germans pronounce Bavaria. Did not know. Diplomacy leader arrival. And then this is just a sheet of paper. Oh, it's, if you want to play it solo, is that what this is? Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it says solo system for GMT's card-driven game solo system that they have. So that's kind of interesting. So we've got that. Then we've got some counter sheets. We got 3. Yep, we have 3. So let's take a closer look. These are going to be dual-sided. So let's zoom in to get a better look at these. Pretty cool artwork on these, I would say. So I think these are Prussians. Oh yeah, because it says Prussian event VP. Yeah, I guess that's the giveaway there. So is this France? Maybe. So, as I said, dual-sided, and it looks as if we have step reduction for these units. Red's got to be Britain, right? Yes, it is the British. William Arenz is joining us. Good to see you, William. Thanks for taking time out to join us in chat. Mentioning Bavaria is actually Bayern in German. I like the mounted troops. White is Austrian. Oh no, it's Piedmont. Oh no, it's Austria right here. These are Piedmont. That was Austria. I think there's, for some reason, I think there's Italian troops mixed in with that. So we've got Russia, Spain, some informational markers as well. Hopefully this is coming out pretty clear. And that the Panasonic autofocus is behaving. Although the GS5 Mark II autofocus isn't bad. It's fairly good compared to some of the other Panasonics out there. All right, so here we've got our board. So we'll just kind of take a peek at it in portions. So it looks like we've got some boxes here for you to mark your armies. So I'm taking a stab in the dark that you're maybe going to put your counters here, and then you'll have a marker representing that army. I don't know. Or you're just stacking them on the board. So here, French Army Flanders, French Army Germany. Looks like this is auxiliary. Got England. Let's get the rest of this folded out. So, of course, if you're using a paper board, then you should always, this is always what I've recommended, have some plexiglass or a clear plastic that's not going to get chip, and utilize that to lay on top of the board, the paper board, and you try to pick something up that doesn't have a lot of glare, that doesn't pick up a lot of glare, because I have seen some people with, they use glass and put glass over it, and depending on your viewpoint, it can be pretty difficult to make out what's on it. So this looks very interesting, very cool. So it looks like we've got our turn record here. All right. So we have our board, our 3 counter sheets. We've got our solo rules, as well as our player aids and mats and markers. We've got our playbook with our designer notes, as well as our scenarios. We also have our errata sheet, our rules of play, and our 2 6-sided dice. And that is what we find when we take everything from, let's turn this around the right way, Clash of Sovereigns, the War of Austrian Succession, 1740-48, from GMT Games. Very nice. Should point out, our friends over at GMT Games were kind enough to send this review copy. But of course, as always, neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. I know you may not think it's important to know that, but it actually is. All right, so hopefully I'll have an opportunity to maybe get this to the table. I don't know. I honestly do not know. William Arenz has made a super chat. Thank you very much. So it's interesting that both GMT and Compass are covering these less well-known 18th century wars. We had kind of talked about that at the end of yesterday's show when I was discussing we were going to be doing an unboxing on tonight's show. And I love the fact that we get to see that. Now, Compass Games, I have no relationship with Compass Games. I tried getting on board with them one time. We kind of butted heads, and then there was, some issues with them and their customers and that. I was like, you know what? Not worth, trying to chase them. So really, GMT and Flying Pig and Tiny Battle Publishing are kind of the only wargaming companies that I take a look at stuff. And it's just tough for me to get this stuff to the table with my group. And Elliot plays war games, but it's so rare that I have an opportunity to sit down and game with him these days. Anyway, so Fleming Heron is pointing out, yes, super chats aren't exactly a great way of getting me funds. Yes, I know. But you know what? Hey, I appreciate it. I really do. I really do appreciate the super chat. Thank you. Thank you very kindly, William. All right. So that is it for tonight's show. Should point out, tomorrow, we are going to be taking a look at the Mirror of Malatesta for old school essentials. There's also a 5e version of this. This is from 12 Strand Media. I know I kept forgetting to mention who it was from. This is available through Exalted Funeral. And my understanding is this is a low-level dungeon crawl. So we will jump on in. And it's supposed to be kind of a, I don't know if it's a grim, dark setting, but there's like I think there's a little more information about like the game world and things like that in this book. So Deja Vu says, been a good chat. Yeah, usually chat is usually pretty interesting. I miss a lot of it because a lot of times I'll be talking and, oh, damn it. You know what we didn't even look at? The cards. Yeah. I was going to say, I was putting everything away and I'm thinking, wow, you know, that just doesn't seem like a lot of stuff in this box. Yeah. So, hey, you know, it's a live show. You know how it works. And it's an unboxing. It's, you know, it's not like I'm familiar with what's in here. William says they find that thin, clear acetate sheets are very good for protecting paper maps with not much glare. Nice. Very nice. So, Flaming Heron says, do you happen to remember what you forgot the other night? What did I forget? I mean, we've been looking at role-playing game stuff. Was it something that I was supposed to mention about a company? Maybe that was it. Oh, maybe it was, if I remember right, I think I said something about Free League Publishing. See, because we were taking a look at the wake of the icons, and I would have shared that Lord of the Rings news, but I try not to double dip for companies. So if we're taking a look at a game or a release from a publisher, I don't tend to share a news piece about that publisher on the same show. All right, so just going to take a peek at some of these. So it appears that we've got different size decks for each of these factions, I guess we'll say. So Flaming Heron says, I only remember you saying it. I know at one point during one of the shows early on, I said, oh yeah, I'm going to mention something about something. Don't let me forget. And then I forgot. All right, so I think these are the Day of Battle cards here. So we've got land battles, large battles, and ships at sea. So the attacker draws one of these. This is an optional rule that we saw. So the attacker will draw the card and then apply the effects of this card. So we've got that. All right, so we have Britain and Piedmont. Are these all Britain and Piedmont? Yes, they are. So we've got negotiations, subsidy to Austria, fleet sortie. For a second, I was like, oh, wait a second, there's not going to be any artwork or it? Yes, there is on many of them. Nice. And cardstock's really nice. Although, as I always mention, sleeve your cards. British Recall. The Russians March. Able Subordinate. A little tough to read that with the backing, with the background image, I should say. I can read it, but it took me a second to kind of focus. All right, so we've got Britain and Piedmont, France and Spain, Empire Diplomacy. Can't even really make that out. It's a little tough to... Duke of Modena? Or of Madura? Yeah, this would not have been my choice here. That is Spain, I guess. The yellow. Blue is France. Allied bickering. So it appears that we have our operations points in the upper corner here. So if this is like most card-driven games from GMT, you're going to have an option of using the operations point or the event, or, you know, what's on the card. Here we got Austria. See, these are easier to read. Yeah, I don't know if I would have gone with some of the choices for like background images and that, and with the color palette, because some of these cards seem to be a little difficult to read. The Austria cards seem to be okay. Maria corrects her misstep. Now, one thing we did not see in the playbook was a reference to the historical events that are on these cards. I always love to see that. But I mean, it looks like we've got a lot, right? So, surprise invasion, one-time event. Augustus overawed. The Treaty of Paris. Or seizing fleeting opportunity. Yeah, I did notice that some of these cards actually have two options, like right there. Cool. All right, so now we have taken a look at the cards that go with Clash of Sovereigns. It's like there was one time we were looking at. It might have been a GMT game, and it had cards. I know there was a game that we looked at once. We did a first look at, and it had a deck of cards. I put the deck of cards off to the side. Never looked at them. It was like, yeah, nice going, Jeff. What can I tell you? Like I said, it's a live show. Things happen. Anyway, so as I mentioned, tomorrow we're going to be taking a look at the Mirror of Melitesto. John Mascola's calling it a night. Well, we're wrapping up the show anyway, so good time for you to go to bed. Now, what's cooking next week? So, as I had mentioned on yesterday's show, I am considering maybe having the month of June, all the live shows feature reviews. Be a lot of reviews, but I got quite a few reviews kind of banked up. So I'm kind of thinking that that's what I'm going to do, but that is not going to be starting next week because we still have the end of May. So I don't know. I'm not sure what we're going to take a look at on Monday. It said Monday on Tuesday's show. But I can tell you a week from tonight, we're going to dive on in and take a look at ancient civilizations of the Middle East. Now, I really enjoyed ancient civilizations of the Inner Sea. And this actually has even more civilizations. So pretty sweet. So we're going to take a look at that on next Wednesday's show. So another Wargame Wednesday. Although you can play the ancient civilizations games without conflict. So that's something to keep in mind. The rest of next week, I'm not sure. So there are a few things that are supposed to be arriving. We'll play it by ear. And then on tomorrow's show, I'll let you know. I'll let you know if we are going to be diving on into reviews all throughout the month of June. So there is that. All right, then. So if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central right here on YouTube. It'll also inform you when I upload other videos, such as my upcoming review of Pathfinder's Firebrands. I was taking a look to see if it was Lost Omens or not. It is Lost Omens Firebrands, which you shall see later on this week. Plus, of course, I still have that review of Nameless Horrors, although I might hold on to that for June. Don't know. If you were watching live, thank you very much. I know we had some first-timers hang out in chat. Welcome aboard. I'm glad you made yourselves comfortable. And once again, thank you to William for that super chat. And of course, if you took part in chat, big tip of the cap, because you're not only keeping me company, you're keeping each other company as I'm babbling on and forgetting to show you components from games. But of course, I know a lot of you out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. I really do appreciate each and every one of you taking time out to watch any of the videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. Enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. And here's hoping you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
Oh, hey, you're still here. That's okay. You don't have to leave just yet. In fact, why don't you subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel right here, or take a peek at the latest live stream, or even find out what